You must have seen such placards in newspaper and elsewhere in a rally or a march. Sometimes a certain demand is made asserting it to be the right. We get rights at birth. Every newborn baby has a right to live. The entire society and government takes efforts to ensure that the baby is in the best of health. Only when all individuals get protection from injustice, exploitation, discrimination, and reproduction will they be able to develop the skill and qualities demanding one's right is insisting and creating an atmosphere conducive to the development of the self as well as the entire society. The Indian Constitution has guaranteed equal rights to all citizens in order to create this conducive atmosphere. These rights are fundamental rights. As they are included in the Constitution, they have the status of law. It is imperative for every to abide by these rights. That was prevalent in our country has been abolished by law. The practice of untouchability in any form is recognizable. Instead, this practice has been materialized in order to establish equality in Indian society. The Constitution has also abolished secrecy that creates an artificial hierarchy among people. For example, titles like Raja, Maharaj, Rahu, Bahar, etc. have been abolished. Do you have pets? Animals like dogs, cats, cows, or goats? You surely take good care of them and love them. If this animal could speak, what right do you think they will ask from you? Let us understand the rights of Indians included in the Constitution. Right to equality. According to the right to equality, the statute discriminates among citizens as superior, inferior, or as men and women and cannot give different treatment or privileges to anybody. The same law applies equally to all. Many laws give us protection. For example, we have protection from arrest without warrant. Also, the statute cannot discriminate while extending such protection. This right to liberty, this is a very important right given by the Constitution. It gives a guarantee of all the freedoms necessary to govern the view of the individual. As Indian citizens, we have to right freedom of speech and expression, freedom of assembly peacefully, freedom to form assemblies or movements, freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India, freedom to reside and settle in any part of territory in India, freedom to practice any lawful profession or to carry out on any occupation, trade or business of one choice. The right to liberty in the Constitution has granted us freedom of speech and movement, and it has also provided a security to keep us safe. This legal protection has been given to everybody equally. This is not denied to anybody. For example, we all have a right to life. Appears to be simple, but it has a deep significance. It implies getting an insurance to live, availability of a conducive environment for living. Nobody can take away another's life. No person can arrest and deny it without any reason. The right to liberty now also includes the right to education. All children between 6 and 14 years of age are in to get education as a fundamental right. This ensures that no child will be deprived of education. Rights against exploitation. The right against exploitation implies the right to prevent exploitation. While the Constitution has banned all types of oppressor through the right against exploitation, it has made a special provision to prevent the exploitation of children. Accordingly, it is prohibited to employ children under 15 years of age of hazardous basis. Children cannot be employed or made to work in a practice of mine. Exploitation includes bonded labor or forcing somebody to work against his wish, treating somebody like a slave, denying them legitimate competition, making them do extraneous work, starving them or ill-treating them. Generally, women in the weaker section of society and powerless people are exploited. This right enables to standards of any kind of exploitation. Fundamental Rights Part 1 done. Fundamental Rights Part 2. Only I will learn only fundamental rights today. Sorry. In the last chapter, we studied some fundamental rights. Wait, let me see how many pages are there. We studied the rights of liberty, equality, and the right against exploitation. In this chapter, we shall also learn about the right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational right, and we shall get acquainted with the judicial protection available for the fundamental rights. India, we know, is an important is an important secular country in the world. We have studied it in the previous classes, but you must be curious to know what the Indian Constitution says about it, isn't it? It is included in our right of freedom of religion. According to it, each Indian citizen is free to practice any religion and to establish institutions for religious reasons. In order to broaden the scope of the right to freedom of religion, two things are not permitted. State cannot impose religion taxes that may be used to increase a particular religion, that is, our constitution forbids religious taxes. Religious education cannot be made by compulsory in educational institutions that receive aid from the state. मैं कुछ पढ़ाई कर रही हूँ. Cultural and educational rights. We can see that there is a great diversity of festivals, foods and way of life in our country. We may have noticed the differences in the difference between ceremonies that you attend. All these things are part of cultures of different communities. Our constitution has given the different communities and the right to preserve their culture and keenness. In case of encroachment of fundamental rights, the Indian system, according to this right, people are not only free to preserve their own language, script, and literature, but also make effort towards their promotion. They can establish institutions for the development of their language. In case of enforcement of fundamental rights, the Indian citizen right to the judicial remedy is also a fundamental right. This is called the right to constitutional remedies. This means the Constitution itself has provided for legal remedies in case of people's rights get violated. So it becomes a constitutional duty of the court to protect the rights of people. Sometimes a right that is guaranteed to us by the Constitution may get infringed upon and we are not able to exercise our rights. This is called an infringement of our rights. The country considers our complaint, investigates it, and engages in conflict that have indeed been infringed upon unjustly and has been done to the aggrieved individual, and the court gives an appropriate verdict. Right as writs as constitutional remedy. Courts have powers to issue various kinds of writs to protect the rights of the citizen. Habeas corpus, protection from unlawful and wrong detention. Mandamus, the order of the cause, the Supreme Court of the High Court, commanding the government to perform an action that is a prohibition to prevent the Supreme Court from acting freely. Co-warrant to restrain a person from acting in an office is not impacted. To order the removal of a lawsuit from the Supreme Court. Because the fundamental rights are thus protected by the courts, citizens are able to exercise their rights. They can fulfill their roles as alert, responsible, and active citizens while considering fundamental rights. We also need to remember our duties. In the next chapter, we shall learn about fundamental duties.